Good evening and welcome to State of Business, our television's primetime business news bulletin. I'm Madhusha Palakumar. Let's take a look at the headlines first. Event held to commemorate the 70th anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence. Australia-Sri Lanka trade reaches 1.3 billion Australian dollars. Now the story is in detail. An event was organized by the Honganji Foundation of Japan together with the Japanese Embassy of Sri Lanka in Colombo today to commemorate the 70th anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence.
The event was held under the title, The Departure to the Future of Sri Lanka and Japan. The occasion was graced by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, Speaker of the Parliament Karu Jayasuriya, President of the Sri Lanka Parliamentary Association Navin Dissanayake, Ambassador of Japan to Sri Lanka Keinichi Suganuma, members of Parliament, officials of the Foreign Ministry of Japan, delegates from the Honganji Foundation and other invitees from both countries.
The selection of the theme of the conference, the departure to the future of Sri Lanka and Japan, it signifies your noble intentions to develop and further strengthen the bond of friendship, deep friendship, and mutual respect for each other. As much as 65 years of diplomatic relations between our two countries, it is with Japan's journey to be a developed nation with peace and prosperity that this relationship started to a great extent. We have had frequent exchange of visits by leaders of both countries, and the enormous contributions made by the Japanese government for the development and prosperity of our nation is deeply appreciated by the Sri Lankan people. We are grateful to Most Venerable Kojun Ohtani and the Honganji Foundation for the enormous assistance extended to uplift Buddhism, culture, and several social services projects undertaken by them. Tsunami Memorial featuring Bamiyan Buddha, then the International Buddhist Museum at the Temple of the Truth Relic are some of the lasting monuments displaying your regard and affection for Sri Lanka and its people. We celebrated 70 years of parliamentary democracy last October in the presence of speakers of the South Asian Parliament. During these 70 years, we have had 2 unsuccessful military coups, 2 youth insurrections, and 30 years of terrorist activities. Despite these obstacles, we maintained democracy throughout the period. We now have a national government with President and Prime Minister representing the 2 largest political parties. We also have a mature and understanding opposition leader, and all these top leaders have one common agenda: to build our country as a united, truly democratic, and a prosperous nation.
4 years after the independence, Japan and Sri Lanka established diplomatic relations. And since then, for more than 65 years, we have maintained a very strong friendship relations. And we have been supporting the development of Sri Lanka in all these years, including good time, but also during difficult times. We are not supporting Sri Lanka only in terms of economic development, but we are also strongly supporting the efforts for national reconciliation of the current government.
Meanwhile, speaking at the event, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted the importance of further strengthening cultural, political and economic relationships between Sri Lanka and Japan.
The ties between Japan and Sri Lanka is based primarily on culture. At the beginning of the 20th century, the common heritage of Buddhism led to the cultural exchanges between Sri Lanka and Japan. And throughout this period and up to now, while political and economic ties have also strengthened, the cultural relationship, I would say, is the foundation on which we have built strong political and economic ties. I have had the opportunity of discussing with Prime Minister Abe the close friendships with Sri Lanka, and we are all of the same view. We uphold the concept of freedom of navigation, of a free and prosperous Indo-Pacific, just as much as Japan also recognizes Sri Lanka as one of the hubs of the Indian Ocean. Our location is strategic to all those, and we all have a role to play in ensuring that peace, order and stability is maintained in the Indian Ocean. The Japanese government's assistance to us in the fields of economic development, or the plans we are having now of increasing our energy, of strengthening our ports, and of planning out the beautiful city of Kandy is all appreciated by the people of Sri Lanka. Similarly, we have supported the Japanese claim on a restructuring of the Security Council of the United Nations. Only last week, we had the foreign minister visiting Sri Lanka, and in March, President Sirisena will be visiting Japan. So these are the close friendships. But to take it forward, the cultural friendship matters. And today I have a delegation both of political and cultural delegations. So it's now left, I think, for the political relationship to become closer at the parliamentary level. And we should have more exchanges, we should meet more often, and I have no doubt that this will help us to further propel our destinies together.
Issuing a press release, the Australian High Commission in Colombo stated that trade between Australia and Sri Lanka has surged to a record high of 1.3 billion Australian dollars in 2016-2017 on the back of strong growth in trading services.
The Australian High Commission further said that education continues to grow as a pillar of the economic relationship, with more than 9,500 enrolments by Sri Lankan students to study in Australia and thousands more pursuing Australian-affiliated studies locally. The rapid growth in Australian tourists visiting Sri Lanka helped Sri Lanka's services exports to Australia grow by more than 36%. Merchandise trade remains steady at approximately $480 million based on Sri Lanka's traditional strengths in tea, textiles and rubber. Garments exports have grown strongly in the past year, reflecting the decision by Australian retailers to source garments from Sri Lanka. Australia's major exports of vegetables, dairy, wheat and machinery have also performed well.
We'll see you after this short break. Welcome back. Addressing the media during a press conference, United People's Freedom Alliance MP Bandala Gunawardena stated that the joint opposition has unanimously decided to bring a no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe with regards to the central bank bond issue.
මේ බැඳුම්කර සිද්ධියේ ප්‍රධාන චූදිතයා ලෙස සැලකෙන අර්ජුන මහේන්ද්‍ර මහතා මේ වන විට සිංගප්පූරුවට ගොහින් තියෙනවා. ඔහු සිංගප්පූරු පුරවැසියෙක්. ඔහු ලංකාවේ මේ දියුරුම් දීලා නැහැ. කෝප් කමිටුවේදී ප්‍රශ්න කළා තමන් මේ මහා බැංකුව අධිපති ධූරයට පත්වීමේදී ආණ්ඩු ක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවට අනුව දියුරුම් දීම කළාද කියලා. ඔහු කිව්වා එවැනි දියුරුම් දීමක් කරේ නැහැ කියලා. එහෙමනම් ඉතා පැහැදිලි ලෙස ඔහු විසින්ම ප්‍රසිද්ධියේ පිළි අරන් තියෙනවා. ඔහු ලංකාවේ ආණ්ඩු ක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාව අනුව ඒක ආරක්ෂා කරන බවට දියුරුලා නැහැ කියලා. එimhe දියුරන්නත් බෑ. ඇයි සිංගප්පූරු පුරවැසියෙකුට ශ්‍රී ලංකා ආණ්ඩු ක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාව ආරක්ෂා කරනවා කියලා දියුරන්න බෑ. එහෙමනම් ඒ නිලයේ ඔහු සිටියේ නැහැ. සිටියේ නැති කෙනෙක් අස්සන් තැබූ නෝට්ටුව වළංගු වෙන්නේ කොහොමද?
Meanwhile, responding to a question raised by a journalist regarding the no-confidence motion, which is to be filed by joint opposition MPs, State Minister of Highways Dylan Pereira stated that the Sri Lanka Freedom Party will express its stance only after the 1,500-page report by the Bond Commission has been completely read by the party members.
මීට පෙරත් ඒකාබද්ධ විපක්ෂය ওই විදිහටම විවිධ ඇමතිවරු සම්බන්ධයෙන් විශ්වාස භංග යෝජනාව ගේනවා කියලා ගෙනාවේ නැහැ. සමහර අයට විශ්වාස භංග යෝජනාව ගෙනල්ලා ගේන එක අතරමඟදී අතෑරියා. ඒ අතාරින්න හේතුව බසිල් රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයා එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයත් එක්ක තියෙන මම හැමදාම මෙතන ඉඳලා කියපු ඒ තිරේ පිටපස ගනුදෙනු. ඒක තමයි ඒක හේතුව. ඒ නිසා විශේෂයෙන් බැඳුම්කර වාර්තාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඒකාබද්ධ විපක්ෂයෙන්ම විශ්වාසභංග යෝජනාවක් ගෙනන ඉතාම හොඳයි. මේ අපි අර බැඳුම්කර කොමිසමේ 1500ම පිටු කියවලා තමයි අපි අපේ මතය හරියට ප්‍රකාශයටපත් කරන්නේ. ඒ නිසා ඒකාබද්ධ විපක්ෂය විසින් ගෙනෙන්න යෝජනා කරන ලබන්නා වූ මේ විශ්වාසභංග යෝජනාවේ තියෙන කරුණු දිහා බලලා අපිට පුළුවන් ඒ ගැන තීන්දුවක් ගන්න.
Let's take a look at the stocks after this break. Welcome back. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped 13.37 points to close at 6,527.14, and the S&P SL 20 dropped by 1.43 points to close at 3,808.62. The turnover was 546.8 million rupees and 22 million shares were traded. Next is Forex rates. With that, we are wrapping up State of Business for the day. We'll meet you tomorrow at the same time with more latest news. Until then, take care. Good night.